The first handoff was almost clumsy. A briefcase stuffed with photocopied intelligence reports, passed in a quiet Washington apartment to a man who introduced himself as Yossi. Jonathan Pollard's nerves buzzed. His palms were damp as he handed over the files. For years, he had dreamed of this moment. Finally being useful. Finally serving Israel. When Yossi smiled and told him he had done well, Pollard felt a rush of pride. He was no longer a desk analyst mocked by colleagues for his arrogance. He was an asset. A spy. A man moving pieces in a global chess match. From that moment on, the floodgates opened. Pollard's handlers wasted no time in testing his limits. Within weeks, he was moving staggering amounts of material out of his secure office. Maps of Soviet military installations, surveillance data on Arab air defense, and details of U.S. reconnaissance satellites. He carried documents in briefcases, stuffed them under his arm, and casually walked past security. No one questioned him. He was, after all, an analyst with legitimate access. Once outside, Pollard would rush to safe houses where photocopiers hummed late into the night. His apartment became a staging ground, with his wife, Anne, helping him organize the material. What began as a trickle turned into a torrent. By some estimates, Pollard delivered tens of thousands of classified reports, enough to fill an entire room. For his handlers, it was a gold mine. For Pollard, it was intoxicating. He convinced himself he was saving Jewish lives, but ideology was only part of the equation. Israel paid him handsomely, tens of thousands of dollars, expensive gifts, even diamond jewelry for Anne. Soon, his lifestyle exceeded his official salary many times over. But with the money came a growing arrogance. Pollard bragged openly about connections to foreign intelligence. His personality, loud, dramatic, and attention-seeking, made him stand out. In the world of espionage, standing out is fatal. By 1985, the volume of material was unmanageable. Pollard once handed over so many documents that his handlers had to rent a truck to haul it away. He took pride in their astonishment, seeing himself as indispensable, but every overstuffed briefcase was another step toward exposure. The cracks began to show at work. Co-workers noticed him removing large volumes of files without assignments. In a building where paranoia is a survival instinct, whispers never stay whispers for long. A colleague finally caught Pollard removing stacks of highly classified reports from a secure vault. When questioned, Pollard spun a bizarre story about a terrorism project. It didn't add up. Soon, supervisors noticed he was requesting documents far outside his scope. North African military deployments, Soviet weaponry. Suspicion hardened into alarm. Counterintelligence was alerted. Quietly, the FBI began to investigate. Pollard had no idea. He continued his operations, confident he was untouchable. But the net was tightening. On the night of November 21st, the end game arrived. Pollard was fleeing. His chest was tight, his hands damp against the steering wheel. He sped toward the one place he thought promised safety: the Israeli embassy. In the back seat were briefcases stuffed with America's most closely guarded secrets. He reached the gate and shouted that he was an Israeli agent seeking asylum. He reached for the threshold of safety, but the doors stayed shut. Israeli officials were not preparing to protect him. They were preparing to distance themselves. Pollard was now a liability. In those agonizing seconds, his illusions crumbled. Behind him, FBI vehicles screeched to a halt. Agents rushed forward with weapons drawn. Pollard was grabbed and forced down, his briefcase wrenched from his hands. The arrest was historic. He had betrayed the United States on a staggering scale. The sheer volume of stolen material dwarfed almost every other espionage case in American history. In 1987, Jonathan Pollard was sentenced to life in prison. He had believed he was a hero, a man of two worlds. In the end, the country he betrayed saw him as a traitor, and the country he served abandoned him at the gates. The doors always stay closed.